had something kind of scary happen to me the other day and I wanted to tell you guys about it. So hey y'all, I'm back with a story time of my own. This is not like a fan submitted story. I haven't done like a story time about my own life in a really long time. This happened a couple days ago and honestly I didn't even think about making a video until today. I was gonna film a TikTok and then I started filming it, but it was so long. I was like, why don't I make a whole video about this? It's long because I ramble, but you know, whatever. Jumping into it though, if you guys know me, I frequent pretty much every Goodwill in Phoenix, Scottsdale, Gilbert, fucking Peoria. I go around. And I kind of have a rotation of Goodwills that I go to. You guys, I go pretty much daily. It's a problem. Like, I don't buy something every single time I go, but I do go a lot because I feel like if you want to find the really good shit, you kind of do have to go a lot. All of that to say, I have been to this specific Goodwill a million times. This specific day, I wanted to go to two Goodwills that are fairly close to each other. So I go to the first one, have a very normal Goodwill experience, but when I'm leaving, I'm in the parking lot and a man yells out at me, and I had noticed this man in the store. I'm not even gonna lie. I am hyper aware of my surroundings. You guys, it's to a paranoid level sometimes, but also I feel like it's kind of, I don't know, better safe than sorry. I had noticed this man in the store and I had noticed him looking at me. He had checked out and I think there was one person in between us in line, so he was already outside. Somebody else was checking out and then I was checking out. So he was like standing outside by his car. I don't really know, honestly. I walked outside and he screams from his car, "You're beautiful," which, like, whatever. I've heard worse. So I was like, I ignored him and I kept walking, and then he kept murmuring something. I couldn't make out what he was saying. I think something along the lines of like, "Oh, thank you," like being sarcastic because I didn't respond. I don't really know though, honestly. And that was like the end of that interaction. It was just like very brief. I got in my car, I drove away. That was the end of that. The only reason I'm telling you about that is because it was just a weird start to my next Goodwill trip. Because that had happened, I was even more like on high alert, I guess you could say. So I go to the second Goodwill, I walk inside. I am in this Goodwill for probably 10 minutes max because of the situation. So all of this happens within probably like a 3 or 4 minute time frame. Like this was quick and I was out of there. My favorite section to look at is the home section. So every time I walk into a Goodwill, I beeline straight for the home stuff. Usually it's at like the back of the store. I go back there looking through all the aisles and I get to like the frames and like the wall art. And in this specific Goodwill, it's like the frames are on like, let's say like this wall. The frames are right here. The wall art is like this huge wall. And then the lamps are like in a section kind of near where the frames are. I'm not really sure how to like lay it out for you, but it also doesn't really matter. I'm looking at the frames and I'm looking at the wall art and I'm walking down like to look at all of the wall art because it goes on for a decent amount. And I noticed this man kind of lingering, I guess, around me. Didn't think much of it, thought he's probably just also looking at the wall art. Then I go and I look at lamps. And I noticed that he is no longer lingering like out in the open. He's kind of come over to that aisle. He's like maybe lingering towards like the end of the aisle. I haven't fully looked at him at this point because I don't think anything of it. Like I'm trying not to be like insane. If the camera shakes, it's because of this man. Hi, Gwen. Anyways, I am looking at the lamps and then I look back at the frames because I remembered that I wanted a specific frame for something. So then I taking a look at the frames again, and this man is kind of like, because the lamp section is like an aisle over from where the frames are. Does that make sense? So then this man comes around and is now standing by the frames. At this point, I'm kind of like, okay, this is weird. So I look at him and I turn back to the frames because I just want him to know that I know that he's there. To the left of the frames is like the wall. I call them surprise bags. It's like the wall of surprise bags where they put like a bunch of shit in a bag. And if you like one thing, you kind of just have to buy the whole bag unless you rip it open, but that's a Goodwill sin. They like group together similar items. Sometimes they're completely random, but they try to group like similar items together and there's like a whole wall of these bags. I start looking at the bags and I feel this man come up like right behind me. I don't know what he was doing. I have an idea, or I guess a couple ideas of what he could have potentially been doing. But when I say he was right behind me, he was an inch away from me and he was standing Like I could feel this man behind me. And he starts motioning, and there are two things that I think he could have been doing. The first one is maybe like fake hitting me, because I had looked at him and it wasn't a look of like, hi, like, good afternoon. It was a look of like, what the fuck are you doing standing next to me for so long? Or he was like fake humping me. I don't know. I couldn't tell obviously what he was doing, and it also happened so fast, but I could like feel that he was doing something, and I hope that makes sense. Like I could feel that there was like something going on behind me. He wasn't just like standing there sniffing my fucking hair, which is also weird, but you know what I mean. I could feel that he was doing something, and I hope that makes sense, because I feel slightly crazy saying that because I didn't actually see him doing anything. But regardless of if he was doing something or not, he was way too close to me, and I whipped around and he backs off of me and starts walking away as if nothing happened. He does this twice, which is insane, because I whipped around and like gave him a look of like, get the fuck away from me. And then I turned back around to keep looking at the wall, and he does it again, which is, I don't know. He didn't come as close to me the second time, but I did whip around the second I felt his presence again, because like I said, the first time I whipped around, he walked away as if nothing had gone on and that he was just casually browsing. So when I turned back around, he walked back over, got close to me again. I could feel him there. I turned around, he did the same thing, he just walked away. So at that point, I was like, I'm leaving. Like, I am not going to stick around to see what else this man has in store for me. The reason I had even gone to Goodwill in the first place was because I was looking for two matching vases, which is really hard to find, especially at a Goodwill. But vases can be really expensive. So I decided to try, and I fucking found them at this Goodwill. And I wanted two like very specifically shaped vases that were short and round and like long, if that makes sense. I don't know. They're like short, but they're like longer. I don't know. And I found two of them, and I was like, okay, this is like exactly what I needed, so I want to buy them. And I also was like, I want to tell the cashier what this man is doing, because I think they need to be aware of him. Other people in the store might have the same issue with this guy. Once I leave, I don't know, he'll have to like find a new target. I just wanted them to be able to keep an eye on him. And so I walked to the front, and like I said, the home stuff is in the very back of the store. So I beeline it. I don't stop to look at any of the clothing. I beeline it to the checkout. There is like maybe one or two people checking out. So I get in line. I'm not even joking. Like he must have just been trailing me up there, because I turned around and he was right behind me, standing in line. He was in line at the register. He had nothing in his hands. He didn't have a cart. He quite literally had nothing. He was not checking out anything. So I like kept my body kind of tilted to the side. Like I did not put my back to him because I was scared. And I kept my body kind of like tilted, and so I could see him in my peripheral. I was like trying to think of how I was gonna tell the cashier, because while the part of me wanted him to hear me tell her, another part of me was scared, very scared. I was shaking at this point. I was texting one of my friends that this was happening. Also, my computer turned off, so I think it kind of ruined my lighting. There we go. I was texting one of my friends, and another lady came to check out, and because this man didn't have anything, she got in front of him in line. So now there's somebody in between us. So I felt a little bit better. I was like, I think I'm just gonna like lean in and tell the cashier. I get up, my turn to check out. I put all my stuff up there. I'm still texting my friend, and I am like very distracted, because not only am I like terrified of this man, like I don't know, I am like texting and I'm not really paying attention to the cashier. So then she tells me like the total. I tell her, oh my gosh, wait, I have a coupon. I show her the coupon, and then she's like setting it up for me to pay with my card, and I'm not paying attention, and she's like, it's ready for you. And I was like, I'm so sorry. And then I leaned in, and I can't even lie, I kind of had cold feet at this point. I was like, I don't know if I'm even gonna tell her. I think I might just buy my stuff and fucking run. I don't know. Because he's still standing there, by the way. And I'm probably at the register waiting in line and like checking out. This was probably like 5 minutes, I don't know. Not very long. The two people in front of me weren't buying a lot of stuff. So this was like not a very long time, but he's still standing there with nothing. And he's not looking at anything, he's just standing there. like watching me check out. So I start to get cold feet and I'm like, I feel like I need to tell her, but I'm scared to tell her. My car is parked right out front. Like if I don't say anything, I can just get to my car really quickly, lock it and drive away. I do tell her because in my mind, I'm like running through all these fucking scenarios because that's what my brain does. It's like running a million miles per hour. So I lean in, I lean in over the counter and I go, that man has been following me. And she looks at him, directly at him, and she goes, him? The guy behind you? I said, yes. And she was like, okay, do you want me to have somebody walk you out? And I thought for a second, but I was like, again, my car is right out front. Like my car was probably 2 parking spots away from the front door. And there's a big window at the front of Goodwill and I could see my car. Like literally, and so could the cashier. Like I look to my right out the window, that's my car. So I tell her, I'm parked right there. If you could just like watch me and make sure I get to my car. She's like, yes, thank you for telling me, whatever. And at that point, he definitely knew that I had told her because she looked right at him and said, him? So he's fully aware that I'm like telling the cashier, which is fine because I want him to know that I know. I want him to know that I am fully aware that he is following me and being scary and whatever. I want him to know that I know. And like I said, I was buying vases. She asked me if I wanted a bag and I was like, no, these will be my weapon. And I think it's really sad that I even had to think like that. Like I have to prepare myself for the worst case scenario because I do not know what this man is capable of and what his plan is and because I mean, everything leading up to this was already too much and very scary, and I can't imagine what his next step was because if he was bold enough to get that close to me and bold enough to follow me to the front of the store and stand there as I check out, I mean, I have no idea. So I get my keys out so I'm not like fumbling for them once I'm outside. And I go to my car, I get in, and I leave. And he doesn't come outside. I left pretty quickly, but he didn't come outside. I think because he knows that I told the cashier. So I think maybe at that point he got cold feet instead of me. And he was probably like, well, plan's foiled. I don't know what his plan could have possibly been. Like come outside and try to say something to me. Like I don't know, because my car was right there, like not that he even knows that, but obviously I just don't even know what the entire interaction was. I mean, to begin with, I don't fucking know. But it was honestly just a lot. It was scary and it felt very violating, even though I don't necessarily know what he was doing behind me. Just the fact that he was that close to me and doing something, and to think that he was doing it in a store. We're surrounded by people, like that's bold as fuck. And I'm like, he clearly didn't care to be seen or whatever. And that freaks me out because I don't know, like I said, what he's capable of. So I leave and I'm like shaking so bad in the car. I'm also like making sure nobody's following me. And I try to call my sister because I was like, I just need to talk to somebody and tell them what just happened. She didn't answer because she was working. So then I called my boyfriend, who was also at work, but he answered, and I talked to him for like 5 minutes. Just like told him what happened and told him I was like just freaked out. And then I got home and I haven't been back to that Goodwill, which sucks because that was like one of my favorites. And I probably won't go back to that one for a while, if I'm being completely honest, because I'm a little scared. I feel like that one specifically and the one closer to it, the first one I had gone to that day, I feel like I've just had a lot of kind of weird interactions there. I don't really know, like there was one time, I actually can't remember if it was that specific one, but regardless, it was one in that area. I was there with 2 of my friends and all 3 of us were followed by 3 different men who were all together, by the way. And it was just bizarre. Like my friend came up to me because we all separated and we were all looking at our own stuff, and my friend came up to me and she was like, if this guy walks over here, I'm gonna hit him. She had a frame in her hand. She's like, I'm gonna hit him. And he did come over there and he was pretending to look at stuff. It was bizarre. And so I feel like maybe that area just isn't the safest, especially by myself. I don't know. But it sucks that I literally can't even go into a store during the day with other people around me without something like that happening. It's really scary and it's really fucking sad. It's actually pathetic. Men are pathetic. But anyways, that's the whole story. I just figured I would tell you guys about it because I don't know, I just feel like I read Let's Not Meet stories all the time that are like so fucking similar to this, and I read them and tell you guys it's like so important to hear these things so you are aware and you stay vigilant and all of that stuff. And for something to happen to like me personally, I feel like it's just as important to tell you guys about than like with like reading your guys' stories. I'm like proud of myself for telling the cashier. I'm proud of myself for making eye contact with him and letting him know that like I'm aware of what you're doing. I feel like there's not really much more I could have done in that situation because I didn't know what he was doing behind me. And I left as soon as I got scared. Because at first I wasn't scared. I was kind of like, get away from me. Like, but I don't care. But as soon as I felt fear, I left. I left the situation. I took myself out of the situation because that's all I can really do for myself. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to tell you guys about this. I thought it was just a freaky situation. It had me shaking really bad, honestly. And I don't really get scared of like people like that out in the wild. Like I'm very like aware of my surroundings and honestly probably a little paranoid. I think I already said that, but I don't fear people. Like it's very rare for me to actually feel like I'm in danger. And I felt like I was in danger, which is just, I don't know. It's like not a good feeling, obviously. But that's all I have for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. Just be careful out there. I was just a little tiny little girl thrifting her heart away and a man had to be fucking weird about it. Trying to find my little vases. Like, fuck off. Actually, it actually pisses me off. Oh my god. If I saw that man, I'd hit him with my car. Ugh, I can't believe this story took me so long to tell. I feel like I just give unnecessary details, but also at the same time, whatever. I'm gonna go. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.